Alright, Brush Monkeys, welcome back, and I'm doing a bonus video today because I got something I am really just stupid excited about. These weren't supposed to be out until March. The Mega Set's not going to be out until March, but the starter set came out today, or recently. My local store got a shipment of these and got the okay to go ahead and sell them, even though they were listed as not coming out until March. So since they got the okay to sell them, I went ahead and bought one, and I'm really super excited about this. Those of you that watch my channel a lot know that I'm trying to move away from the Games Workshop stuff, but that their contrast paints, while I initially didn't like the idea of it, have become like my go-to paints for a lot of things. And I just really love the speed paints. I love the convenience of it, of the contrast paints. And so now the speed paints have come out. Army painters come out with these. Those of you that watch my channel a lot know that I'm a huge Army painter fan. I'm an unabashed Army painter fanboy. So I wanted to try these out and see how they look. And this box has all the colors that I use a lot with the contrast paints. So we'll see how they work out here. So I want to do an unboxing and review of this as we go. This even says free brush included, so I'm kind of looking forward to seeing that. I took the shrink wrap off, but I haven't really looked at these aside from that. So, okay. Usual, Army painters got their, come on, everything's out. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to put this aside. So, as usual, we got the little thank you card from Army Painter, and how to contact them if something's wrong with it. You got your full range of the 134 war paints and how to use them, which is cool. Comes with the War Games Army Painting Guide, which I've gotten a bunch of these. I've got probably 6 or 7 of them sitting on my shelf right now. And this is kind of cool. It's neat that they give you this free guide to how to assemble and paint miniatures in here, and it's great for beginners. I think this book needs a little updating because it doesn't cover the entire war paints range. I don't know that they even still sell the dip anymore. I haven't seen the dip in forever. They've got the strong tone, or they got the tone washes, the strong tone, dark tone, and soft tone, that are still the same thing as the dip, but kind of a little runnier, more of a wash. And then they've got a range of colored washes that they do now. And I don't know that this covers the colored washes, the color primers. But, yeah, okay, so it shows quick shade washes and FX war paints. But, yeah, this doesn't cover the speed paints. It doesn't cover their metallic colors. It doesn't cover their flesh tones. They come out with a whole set of flesh tones that are just amazing, and this doesn't even mention them. So the book's nice. The book needs to be updated. That's all I'm saying. So I'm gonna put that aside. The brush it comes with is wow, that's a huge brush. War Game or Monster brush is what it comes with, and that's, as you can see, that's a nice big solid wash brush. I'll probably not be using this a whole lot with these. This is gonna replace my Citadel wash brush. It's a nice brush. It feels good in my hands. It's just way bigger than any of the stuff I normally use. Okay, now for the colors that come in it. We've got Graveyard Gray, Hardened Leather, Pallid Bone, Blood Red, Zealot Yellow, Orc Flesh, Fire Giant Orange, Crusader Skin, Highlord Blue, and Hive Dweller Purple. And of course it comes with this neat little tray that most of their stuff tends to come in. Now the weird thing is the tray has a little slot right here for the brush. You can put the brush right there. First of all, it doesn't fit this brush, which is a little weird. And second of all, the brush wasn't in that tray. Probably because it doesn't fit, but tray's neat. Anyway, moving along, I am going to add these to the color studies book here in a bit. But first, I want to try these out side by side with the contrast paints that they're meant to emulate. So I'm going to shut this off and go get some rinse water, and then we'll start in comparing these with their contrast counterparts. All right, see you soon. All right, we're back, and we're going to start comparing the speed paints to the regular, to the contrast paints. And I know there's been a lot of videos that do this, and it does look better on miniatures. I don't have a ton of miniatures sitting around, not painted, that I can just use as test subjects. So we're going to do this on a piece of paper. And frankly, I think this shows the coverage a little better anyway, because you can see the paper through it. So we're going to start out with Gravelord Gray from the speed paints and compare it to Basilicum Gray from the contrast paints. So, and I've just got my little dry palette here. They're all Alright, that's pretty nice. I do like the coverage on the contrast paints. I got the starter set because a lot of these are colors that I use all the time. Leather, the bone, the blood red, all that kind of thing. So, one thing I do like, if you can hear that, the speed paints come with the agitators already in them, so I don't need to add any extra mixing balls with those, which I think is fantastic. Okay, right out of the bottle, it kind of looks similar. That looks really dang close, to be honest with you. Okay, the top one is Basilicum Gray, the bottom one is the Gravelord Gray. So that's really close. I think that's going to be a good match. I think when I run out of Basilicum Gray, that's it for the Citadel contrast. I got to hand it to Army Painter for that one. That looks really good. Okay, so up next we've got, I'm going to put that aside for now. Get another card. Up next we've got Hardened Leather versus Snakebite Leather. There it is. This one I'm a little nervous about because Snakebite Leather is like my go-to leather color. I use this on freaking everything. And I think because of that I've become a little dependent on it. So I'm a little nervous about what happens if this runs out and the Army Painter one doesn't cover it. I'm a little concerned about Army Painter's distribution of these colors as well, because like I said, the mega set of all of them is coming out in March. This is the starter set that was due to come out in March and apparently out now. But I haven't seen or heard any word on when the individual bottles are going to come out. And if they do, I don't know whether or not my local store will carry them, because my local store is kind of phasing out a lot of the Army Painter stuff. So hopefully the individual colors will be available soon. Don't know when, but when they are, because I've already got the starter set. I obviously don't want to get these same colors in the mega set and have to do that. But okay, so there's the Snakebite Leather. Let's I just really love that the agitator's already in there. That's such a huge time saver, money saver. It's fantastic. Okay. Right off the bat, I could tell the hardened leather is more of a reddish brown as opposed to the yellowish brown of the snakebite. However, that is a really nice color. Ah, come on. Alright, so the top one is snakebite leather, the bottom one's hardened leather. The hardened leather is more of a reddish brown as opposed to a yellow brown, but it still looks really good. It still looks like old leather. And I kind of dig it. And I'm sure with these paints, as with most other, like with the contrast paints, you can add layers to it to darken that color and deepen that color. But that looks really good. I really like that one. So that's a good color. All right, next up is Pallid Bone versus, if I can find it, Skeleton Horde. Skeleton Horde kind of comes across a little bit like the contrast version of the Seraphim Sepia. It's sort of the same thing as the snakebite leather, but a little bit thinner. But it is a good color for old bone, and sometimes for if you just want a kind of a thin tan wash kind of thing, it looks really good for that. That's not bad. Alright, this is Pallid Bone. This is the Army Painter's version. That I actually like a lot better. I almost feel like I'm kind of biased because I'm liking all the Army Painter stuff better, but as you can see, the Skeleton Horde is a little more brownish. Oddly enough, I like this for the same reason that I like the leather. The Skeleton Horde is a little more brownish. The Pallid Bone is a little more yellowish. With leather, that doesn't look right. With leather, it looks like it should be brown and not yellow. With bone, it should be yellow and not brown. And so I feel like that's a better color just for the opposite reason that the leather one was. Because, yeah, that looks a little more like old bone, old creaky bone. And I really like how that looks. Alright. Next up is Blood Red. And that one I wasn't sure about. I've got Blood Angel's Red contrast, and I've got Flesh Tearer's Red contrast. And Flesh Tearer's Red is one of my go-to reds. So we're just going to try all three of them. And see what we come up with here. I'm going to start with the Blood Red. Sorry the camera's shaky. It's attached to my chair, but I think it's a newer camera and a little better quality camera, I think. Alright, so Blood Angel's Red. That is a nice, bright, vibrant red. Now, Flesh Tearer's Red. Flesh Tearer's Red is one of my go-to red colors because I think this is such a gorgeous color. It's very deep, vibrant red. Very rich. Look at that. That is gorgeous. When it thins out, it looks like the darker version of the Blood Angel's Red. But I love the way that looks over folds of cloth and whatnot. It just looks amazing. Love how that looks. So we're going to try the Army Painter Blood Red. Right out of the bottle, I can tell you it looks darker than both of them. Looks almost black on the palette. But Really nice dark red. Oh my goodness, that's pretty. That is gorgeous. Do that again. Okay, again, I'm not biased towards the Flesh Tearers red or towards the Army Painter stuff. I'm really trying to be objective about this, but that really combines. I hope the camera's picking this up. That really combines the best qualities of both of them. It's got that deep richness that the Flesh Tearers red has, and that bright vibrancy that the Blood red has, and that looks gorgeous. I can't wait to see what that looks like on a miniature. That just looks fantastic. Oh my God, Army Painter, guys. All right, so now we're down to. Almost gonna have to clean this thing out. All right, so now we're down to Zealot yellow, and I'm guessing Hardened yellow is the next nearest color to that. I really don't know what Zealot yellow is supposed to be, but let's go ahead and give Hardened a try here. And you can see I'm running out of space on my palette, so I have to take a break here and try clean that off. Alright, so this is Hardened yellow, and this is a great color for doing like blonde hair and things like that, and it's really nice vibrant yellow. Again, the Citadel paints, I really wasn't expecting to like these when they first came out, and yet it really looks nice and vibrant and colorful. They do their job really well. It's a reason why these contrast paints have become my go-to paints. But at the same time, I don't like Games Workshop. I don't like their business practices lately, and I think there's a lot of stuff they could be doing better. I don't like their prices. There's a lot of reasons why I'm trying to move away from Games Workshop products. So if this compares, I mean, it's going to be a great thing. And again, the Zealot yellow looks a lot darker on the palette. It looks almost like an orangish red on the palette. So let's. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's almost a match for Hardened yellow. That's beautiful. That looks a lot different on a white background than those. Almost look exactly alike. I'm really liking how those look. All right, so Zealot yellow is a match for Hardened yellow. Fantastic. All right, so I'm going to take a break and I'm going to let those dry. And I'm going to go rinse out my Wasp palette, and when we get back, we'll look at Orc Flesh, Fire Giant Orange, Crusader Flesh, Highborn Blue, and Hive Dweller Purple. All right, see you soon. Okay, back from my little break, and we're back to the comparison tests here. So now we're doing Citadel's Orc Flesh versus Army Painter's Orc Skin. Orc Flesh is one I don't use a whole lot, but it is a nice kind of vibrant green. I use their Dark Angels green a lot, so I'm actually kind of hoping this one sort of replaces both of them. Truth be told, there's not a whole lot of difference on the in the bottle between the two. I find that the Orc Flesh tends to be a little brighter. Looking at them on the palette, I can tell you that the Orc Flesh is the first one we've tested. It actually looks darker on the palette than the Army Painter version. So let's see how that looks. Okay, good. All right. This is the first one we've tried with the Army Painter version. It actually comes out a little brighter. The Orc Flesh is a little darker, a little kind of greenish brown, just a little bit brown tone in there, not a whole lot. The Army Painter version is a lot brighter and more vibrant. Not exactly what I call orc skin, but more what I call like a goblin skin. I tend tend to paint my goblins brighter than I do my orcs. But that's a really nice color. I really like that. Just for shits and giggles here, let's try it against the Dark Angels green contrast. Just to see what we come up with here. I know this one's almost always darker on the palette, but this is like my go-to color for grass. I tend to do grass in Dark Angels green and then dry brush it and nibble it green. As you can see, the Dark Angels green is a lot darker, and again has those kind of brown tones to it. But I really like the Army Painter version. It looks really nice. This really wasn't meant to go up against the Dark Angels green. I just kind of tried it out just to see what would happen. And yeah, it's alright. It's all good. It's all good. So that held up pretty nicely. So next up we got Fire Giant Orange, and nearest thing I've got to it. I'm not sure if this is like the only, I'm sure it's not the only contrast for orange, but this is what I had, is the Griffhound Orange. And it's, you know, dark orange. You kind of see it. So that's what we're going to compare it to. That's what I have on hand. That's what I use. And that's what's going to be replaced if the Armor Painter one prevails. So we'll start with the usual. We'll start with the Griffhound Orange. And I don't paint a whole lot of orange. So, you know, this was just kind of a, I think somebody had an extra bottle of it, and I was like, yeah, I'll take it. Take it off your hands. And orange is kind of a muddy color to paint anyway. Alright. That looks alright. I think it kind of, I think I might have still had some Dark Angels green on the brush because it came out a little streaky. But that's alright. Try the Fire Giant Orange. But Griffhound Orange is a really nice dark orange color. I tend to not do a whole lot of really bright orange. So, and again, this looks really dark on the palette, but nice and thin. I mean, it moves really nice. It's got a nice body to it. And again, despite the difference in appearance on the palette, it looks almost the same on the paper. I think the, obviously the Army Painter dried quite a bit faster than the Citadel. You can still see where the Citadel's a little wet and kind of shiny. But the Army Painter dried up really nice. It's not as, well, I'm trying to think how I want to say it. Maybe not as orange as a color. It's almost kind of a fleshy brown color. But again, I don't paint orange a whole lot, so that one will do. Alright, so now the Crusader skin, excuse me, Crusader skin versus, I'm putting it up against Guilliman flesh because that's like my go-to flesh color out of the contrast range. But there's, you know, Fire Slayer flesh, and let me see what else we got. Dark Oath flesh and Fire Slayer flesh. That's the Guilliman flesh. Somebody ended up with 2 things of Guilliman flesh and 2 things of Dark Oath flesh. There's a Fire Slayer. Okay, we'll go ahead and compare all 3 of them. What the hell? Why not? Alright, so first up, we'll do Guilliman flesh. Like I said, that's like my go-to flesh color. And I think I have 2 of them because I forgot it at an event one time and went and bought another thing of the Guilliman flesh. Okay. I'll do the Dark Oath flesh. Now you're all breathlessly awaiting the Army Painter skin, but we'll gotta be fair about this. Dark Oath Flesh, a little darker, a little more brown. Fire Slayer Flesh. Very dark and kind of reddish brown. Okay. And last but not least, the Army Painter Crusader skin. I'm actually really looking forward to trying this out on a mini just to see how it looks compared to the rest of them. This is kind of a weird one for me because I really like the Citadel skin tones, but lately I've been using the Army Painter skin tone set for a lot of my skin tones, and it really looks amazing and it looks fantastic, and I really love using it. Okay, so putting it down on the palette, or putting it down on the paper rather, the Army Painter Crusader flesh looks a lot more like the Guilliman flesh, so that's its target replacement, and it looks really fantastic. I like it. I'm going to go ahead and call that a win. The Dark Oath Flesh and Fire Slayer Flesh are good. They're going to stay for a little bit longer. They're just not my go-tos anymore. Like I said, for painting darker skin, I tend to go with the Army Painter skin tone set, because you can get some beautiful skin tones out of that. So up next is the Highlord Blue, and again I wasn't really sure what they were trying to go for with that, whether it was meant to be like Talosar Blue, which is Talosar is a high elf in the Citadel range, or Ultramarine Blue, which, you know, Guilliman is kind of a Highlord. But since I don't know what they're trying for, I'm going to try them both. So we're going to start with the Talosar Blue. Talosar Blue is almost a wash, kind of like the Guilliman Blue glaze. Tends to be very bright, very vibrant, but at the same time, not the best coverage. But I do like the blue. It's pretty. It's a great blue for magic effects. Get that out of the way. Guilliman Blue, on the other hand, tends to be a lot darker and a lot much thicker, more robust blue. Like, I don't know how else to, like, it's darker, but there's also more of a presence to it. Like I said, more robust. It's the only way I can describe it. Yeah, it's very dark blue, you can see. Alright, now for the Highlord Blue. Okay, on the palette, it's dark, but it's not as thick as the Guilliman Blue. Kind of looks like this might be the blue version of the red, and it just about is, yeah. It's a little closer to Talosar Blue in color, but in depth and richness, it's got a little bit of the Ultramarine Blue in there too. So I'd say that Highlord Blue kind of combines the best qualities of both of them. Like I said, it's a nice bright blue like the Talosar Blue, but it's also kind of got some depth to it, and thickness to it, like the Ultramarine Blue. So yeah, that one color may replace two paints. I'm going to put them off to the side. And last but not least, we have our Hive. Get this out of the way. Hive Dweller Purple. And again, I wasn't sure what they were going with, so I've got my Shayesh Purple, which is very dark, heavy purple. Kind of like the Ultramarine Blue, but purple. And then we got Magus Purple, which is very bright but very thin purple, much more like the Talisar Blue, but purple. So I'm kind of anticipating similar results in those two, so we'll give them a shot here. First up, the Magus Purple. You can tell I haven't used these for a while, so if it doesn't work out, oh well. Okay, Magus Purple. Again, I probably could have washed my brush off a little better because I got a little blue in that one. But you can see, very bright, very vibrant, but very thin at the same time. It thins out very easily. Shayesh Purple is... Last time I used Shayesh Purple, it was almost black in its body, and it's very, very, very thick. But, well, not necessarily thick, but very, well, like I said about the Gulliman Blue, very robust. It's a heavy body black, heavy body purple. And normally when I'm painting purple on a figure, I just kind of want a medium purple that does what the contrast paints say and looks lighter on the highlights and darker in the shadows. And neither one of these really fit the bill, so I usually tend to end up mixing them about 50-50 when I'm painting. You can see how dark that Shayesh Purple is. It's almost black. Even when it thins out, it's almost a little too dark. So, let's see what Hive Dweller Purple looks like. If this looks how I hope it looks, it's going to be replacing both of those. Because, like I said, I usually end up mixing the two together to get the color that I want on the palette. Just to give you an idea, let's go ahead and mix those two and show you what I'm talking about here. Okay. There we go. That is usually the color I'm going for when I'm painting purple. About a 50-50 mix of those two. It's darker than that one, but thinner than that one, and it looks purple. That's what I want it to do, okay? If Hive Dweller Purple looks like that, we have a winner. Damn. Hive Dweller Purple is almost closer to Shayesh Purple. Okay, so it's a little thicker than I would like. It's a little heavier, darker purple than I would like. However, a little closer to Shayesh Purple. However, it's a little more purple too. Shayesh Purple looks almost black and kind of thins out to purple. This starts out, you could tell that's a very dark purple, and it thins out to more of a medium purple color. It's not quite what I'm getting when I mix these two together, but it's better than this one. I think it was meant to go directly head to head with the Shayesh Purple, in which case that'll work. That will definitely win. So, I'm going to go ahead and pause here and go rinse out my wet palette, and then we'll come back and do a final evaluation of these colors. All right? See you soon. All right, we're back, and as you can see, I've added all the new speed paints to my color studies book. So those all look really good. I've also labeled all the cards that we tested everything out on, so you can see the side-by-side comparisons. I may take pictures of these and post them up on our Instagram page here in a little bit, but for right now, I just wanted to give a quick wrap up about the speed paints. I love these speed paints. These are fantastic. They're everything I hoped they were going to be from Army Painter, and are absolutely going to be my go-to paints. That having been said, I'm not going to throw out my contrast paints just yet. Obviously, I'll be replacing them as they run out with the speed paints, but like with the metallic colors, I just tossed a bunch of my old Citadel paints right out the window. With the flesh tones, I tossed a lot of the Citadel paints that weren't really meeting my needs on that either. Almost all my flesh tones are now either Army Painter or Vallejo. But I'm not going to be tossing out the contrast paints just yet because the speed paints aren't available as individual bottles yet. And like I said, my store is my local store is kind of moving away from Army Painter paints. They don't stock a huge collection of Army Painter paints anymore. They do sets like this and the metallics and the skin colors and things like that, but they don't do individual bottles of the war paints very often. I had to go buy black and white, and I bought 2 bottles of each because they just didn't keep them in stock anymore. So obviously, until these are available individually, I don't want to risk running out of something like the skin tone or the leather or the bone color or the gray, you know, my go-to colors that I use a lot of in the contrast. I don't want to run out in the speed paints because I can't get replacement bottles of just those colors. There's also some colors in the contrast line that I would like to see replacements of in speed paint eventually. Things like the Plague Bearer Flesh is kind of a greenish brown, kind of sickly greenish brown. It's a really gross color. Great color. Black Templar is a great, almost kind of greenish black, like very, very dark green black color. I love that for doing black leather. It's like my go-to thing for like black gloves and boots and things. Looks fantastic. I'd like to see a replacement of that in speed paint. I'd like to see a replacement for the Apothecary White in speed paints, because the whole purpose for my buying the contrast paints was to paint colors that are difficult to paint easily and do it easily and quickly. Things like yellows, reds, whites. White is actually a fairly difficult color to paint effectively. However, over both the Wraithbone and the Grey Seer, the Apothecary White just doesn't work. And I asked a friend of mine who's got a lot more experience in the contrast paints than I do why that is and how do I make this look good, and he said paint it over white. Well, shit, if I'm painting white anyway, why do I need the contrast paint? Like, all it is a shade for the white, and I can paint the white anyway. So I'd like to see a contrast white that actually looks white, actually works, and shades white and looks white on the highlights without having to be painted over pure white. And I've got a couple of other colors, like this kind of a yellowish brown. Nazdrag yellow is a great color in the contrast paints. It's kind of a dark yellowish brown, kind of a little different than the Zealot yellow. And so I'd like to see a version of that, but you know, I'd like to see what else is available from Army Painter when the mega set comes out. I really hope they'll eventually go to selling these individually, either in stores or on their website. I'd like to see what other colors are available in the Mega Paint set when that comes out. But I don't see myself buying the Mega Paint set when I've already got this. This is a lot of my go-to colors. This is going to be very useful and very... it's going to replace a lot of my stuff. I'm really happy with it. That's going to be my bottom line. If you like the contrast paints, the speed paints are just as good, a lot more vibrant and colorful in a lot of the cases, and a lot cheaper. These are like $3.50 a bottle. This whole set of 10 bottles was $44, which comes out, I think, and that's at my local store, so that may have something to do with it. But yeah, it was like $45, $44, so about $4.50 a bottle. A little cheaper than the, it's about half the price of the $7.80 that the contrast paints are per bottle. So there's that. But yeah, these are a fantastic replacement for contrast paints. I think Army Painter did a really fantastic job as usual. I'm loving everything that Army Painter's come out with. Like I said, I've started replacing a lot of my stuff with Army Painter paints, and I've gotten the metallic color set, I've got the metallic set, I've got the flesh tone set, and now this, all within the last 4 months. I got a couple of them for Christmas and my birthday, and then I went out and got the flesh set myself, and now this. So these are fantastic. Go out and get the Speed Paint starter set if you just want to try them out. If you've never used contrast paints before, they're really easy to pick up and use. If you have used contrast paints before, these will be a lot cheaper option for you, and you'll be able to get like twice as many for the same price. So thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next week. Bye. Hey Brush Monkeys, Tom from Flying Monkey Studios here. If you like what you see, click like down below. If you want to be notified when new videos come out, go ahead and click subscribe. It's like over here somewhere, right there. Those will both help with my YouTube numbers and bring me that much closer to monetizing this channel and being able to do what I love to do full time. If you want to get your hands on some of the miniatures I've painted here, visit our Instagram and Tumblr pages. I post pictures of both of those on a regular basis. I post videos on TikTok on a regular basis, mostly to direct traffic here to the YouTube channel, but you know, there's some other stuff there that's kind of cool. So go check that out. And if you want to show some love for your favorite monkey-based miniature painter, go check out our merch store at storefrontier.com/flyingmonkeystudios to get our t-shirts, sweatshirts, long sleeve t-shirts, can cozies, aprons, face masks. We've got all kinds of stuff there in a bunch of different colors, including tie-dye. We've got some tie-dye shirts on there if you want to check that out. So go check that out. Go check us out on our other social medias and follow us on Twitter for updates on the channel as well. And thanks for watching, and I will see you guys later. Bye.